Russia's intelligence agency, Federal Security Service, known as FSB, revealed on Monday that it had thwarted a terrorist plot orchestrated by Ukrainian intelligence agencies targeting the Crimean Bridge. The FSB intercepted and disabled an electric Chevrolet Volt that had been rigged with a powerful improvised explosive device in Crimea Peninsula. The FSB stated that the car bomb was intended to cross into Russia's southern Krasnodar region from Georgia, having passed through several third-party countries en route from Ukraine. Ukrainian operatives had planned to place the car onto a transporter truck, which would then be handed off to an unsuspecting individual. This person would unknowingly drive the explosive-laden vehicle across the Crimean Bridge, effectively becoming an unwitting suicide bomber. According to the FSB statement, a vehicle with a high-powered improvised explosive device arrived in Russia from Ukraine, traveling through multiple countries. It crossed the Russian-Georgian border at the Verkhny Lars International Checkpoint in North Ossetia-Alania and was supposed to continue to Krasnodar Krai on a car transporter driven by a private driver. The FSB further detailed that the plan involved delivering the vehicle to a second driver, who would then drive it into Crimea via the Crimean Bridge, unaware of the deadly cargo. The car was reported to have contained about 130 kilograms of explosives, sourced from Finland. The vehicle's journey through various countries highlights the operation's covert and complex nature, which Russia attributes directly to Ukrainian special services. Ukraine has not yet commented on Russia's allegations.
A number of sources unofficially report that a group of the FSB from Moscow with the highest powers is working in the Crimea annexed by the Russian Federation, allegedly investigating the entourage of the Russian head of Crimea, Sergei Aksyonov, for abuse of power, conflicts of interest, and corruption. One of the Crimean human rights activists, speaking on condition of anonymity, told Crim.Relief that security forces from Moscow were working in the building of the Russian government of Crimea. My sources in the Council of Ministers of Crimea reported that the security forces have uncovered this quiet little world with inflated staff under Aksyonov's roof. This week, an ambulance even had to be called to the Council of Ministers as some people fell ill after visiting the office of the head of Crimea. But the security forces are not only interested in the Council of Ministers, they are paying great attention to Yevpatoria, where big problems are expected for the local leadership, the human rights activist reported. According to the human rights activist, the work of the security forces landing party came as a complete surprise to the top officials of the Russian vertical of power in Crimea. Recently, we have been seeing high-profile cases of confiscating illegally accumulated wealth from current or former high-ranking officials in Russia. This is due to the rapid growth of the budget deficit under sanctions. According to my information, the Russian leadership of Crimea has long been causing discontent in the Russian presidential administration with its insatiable appetites. The mass development of the peninsula by developers affiliated with the top officials of the Russian government in Crimea, with numerous violations, including environmental ones, forced Moscow to give the command to the security forces. So Aksyonov will have to share the billions he has accumulated and leave for another position, most likely outside of Crimea, the human rights activist said. He also noted that this situation indirectly confirms the Kremlin's intentions to end the war in Ukraine. Aksyonov was not touched, given his merits in the militarization of Crimea, but he overdid it here too. His personal army, Bars Crimea, became numerous and well organized. Constant exercises at the peak of the resort season raised many questions in Moscow. And the presence in the leadership of the Bars Crimea of such odious personalities as the notorious Samvel raises concern in Moscow, and the understanding that Aksyonov imagines himself to be a local Tsar, the human rights activist noted. The authors of the resource point out that Aksyonov annually reports on the implementation of the federal target program for cash execution, ignoring the real results of the commissioning of objects. Abandoned construction sites multiply, and advances to contractors at the end of the year mask inefficiency. This leads to the conclusion about the possible theft of budget funds. Crimean activists have long pointed out the isolation of the Russian vertical power in Crimea from the Crimean people. On the night of August the 15th, the defense forces attacked a building in Kiev, Donetsk Oblast, where Russian occupiers were based, including their command post. The Ukrainian side could have used a domestic FP-1 drone to carry out the attack. This is the opinion expressed by analysts of Defense Express. The powerful informant analyst is confident that the FP-1 was used for the attack, since, according to him, he saw a photo of the remains of one of the drones. FP-1 is working, he wrote. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine confirmed the successful destruction of the location of the 132nd Separate Motorized Rifle Brigade of the Russian Armed Forces, but did not explain what type of weapon reached the target. A command post of the 132nd Separate Motorized Rifle Brigade of the 51st Army of the Russian Armed Forces in the city of Kiev, which is in the temporarily occupied territory of Donetsk Oblast, was hit with fire. The target was hit. The results of the hit are being clarified, the statement said. The FP-1 kamikaze strike drone was presented in Ukraine in May 2025 for Infantry Day. It is designed to destroy the enemy at strategic depth and is capable of carrying a warhead weighing up to 120 kilograms and covering a distance of up to 1,600 kilometers. As reported by military, FP-1 is already being produced in large quantities and is of interest to Ukraine's partner countries. The FP-1 drone first appeared in 2024. Even then, it was used to attack Russian regions. In particular, the FP-1 was used to attack Krasnodar chemical plant, KCP, 70 kilometers from Moscow, and the instrument-making plant in Arzamas, Nizhny Novgorod region. As for the control center itself, its destruction could bring some chaos to the enemy's plans for some time. However, without confirmation of casualties, it is too early to assess the scale of the impact, analysts at Defense Express say. Let us recall that recently in Russia, they showed how Ukrainian drones are shot down with the help of laser weapons. In particular, they showed how the FP-1 UAV is shot down. FP-1 drones have been used to strike Russia since at least 2024. In particular, they attacked the Marinovka Air Base in August 2024, destroying at least one Su-34 fighter bomber and damaging several others.